I can go live. If I can't, then that sucks. Okay. Tell me if you hear me. I would greatly appreciate it. Good morning. Are you able to hear me, Sandra? Okay, perfect. Let's start. This is an tutorial, so I haven't made any bobbins yet, so we're gonna make some real quick. Ooh, I have one gray already, so I only need to make one bobbin. Hopefully I can finish this within 2 hours before my son comes out of his summer class. If not, then I might come back on. Sorry for the noise. I had to wind the bobbin up. All right. So I'm making a Studio Ghibli one. I'm really excited about this. I have never used this vinyl. I think I've been hoarding it for 4 or 5 years. But I wanted to make sure I covered like all different genres when I'm at different conventions. So that way people have a nice choice. I love it when someone's like, oh my God, I can't pick. There's so many that I want. And they buy multiple bags for me. That's that makes me smile. So, are you guys excited about the Olympics? My husband is. Fun fact, my husband actually was going to he was going to test for the Olympics for track, but on his way to get tested, he got into a major car accident. They had to use the jaws of life, and he had to get all this reconstructive stuff for his hip and everything to get him out of a car when he was young. I mean, he's still young to me. You're not old until you're 92. So I am going to take the zippers that I have and get them set up so that way. The reason why I call this an tutorial because although I'm using her pattern pieces and a lot of similarities, I'm doing a couple things different. One, I'm not using her 1/2 inch seam allowance. I'm using a 3/8 of inch. It makes the bag just a tad bit wider, a tad bit longer, but I like the way it looks better. I'm using Bouncy Firm for my stabilizer, but I prefer actually using foam because a lot of people like to use these to hold their tablets or their computer. And when you use foam, it's like if it bounces around a little bit in there, it's going to be fine. The Bouncy Firm is a good protection. It does have some kind of shock absorbency, but it's not like the foam. I'm going to be using different fabrics too. I'm going to be using a marine vinyl Dove Gray, and I'm going to be using lilac for waterproof canvas, as well as silver for the connectors. the hardware and the zipper tape I'm using is from Fire Reed Stitch. I absolutely love, love, love her. She has like this different color antique, and it's just, oh, it sings to me. It's so beautiful. And with my bags, I like to make them elegant but fun. Like have periods of where it's awesome and super elegant, but then a person can enjoy their fandom. Hello. All right. So as you can see, I sewed on and glued on some little bit of tidbits. Like these are buttons. This is a soot and a star. And I wanted to add a little bit of something extra to make this bag even cuter. So I'm going to move this out of the way. And I'm going to sew down the accent piece first. I'm going to sew it down using a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance versus top stitching at 1/8. I just like the way it looks at 1/4. Okay. Remove those threads. Now I'm going to press down my zipper placket, and I'm going to top stitch it at 1/8 of an inch. You could pull your threads to the back. I am not. This thread color matches this marine vinyl perfection, so I'm not really worried about it. My accent flaps are not this. The accent is not part of the pattern. I used a 2-inch 2-inch by 9.5-inch rectangle, and then I cut off a 1/2 inch on all 4 corners to give it that look of some being symmetrical. Very similar to what Nico does from Sonar. Good morning. Oh God, I am so sorry, Arnetta. That is, yeah, that is not pleasant. Hey, Christine. So we have the Olympics today. Today's my birthday, so I'm excited because I'm going to go buy me some cake and all the foods that I love to eat, and just like veg out and watch some really cool TV shows and get ready to watch the Olympics. Okay, that looks good. Thank you. Feels good. Another year on this earth, I made it. So I'm gonna try to position this as straight as I can. And I know sometimes that's a little bit difficult to do, but you got this. Okay. I'm going to first peel off the back one. And I'm putting right sides down on the tape. And I'm going to sew the first row of stitching. And I'm going to back stitch 1 or 2 stitches. Move the zipper out of the way. Oh, I did this so wrong. Oh my gosh. Because I did it from the left hand. Okay, shh, don't tell anybody. It happens. Bear with me. Sometimes it's good to take it slow so you don't make as many mistakes. Sometimes I can go through a whole bag and never make a mistake, and then other times I'm just nothing but mistakes. It's cool, but if this happens, just unstitch the back, and then we're going to put it correct. I normally have the zipper or placket on the other side towards the left, but the last 2 ones I've been making it on the right just because I thought it's easier for a left-handed person to throw it in their pocket if the way the bag's positioned. So I try to accommodate as much as I can. I'm almost done. I'm sorry about that, guys. I got overzealous and excited too fast. Okay. We're going to take off this one. And place it right here. Move that zipper pull, especially because this zipper pull is super long. Thank you. Finger press that. Put some double-sided tape. This just helps the pocket lay in the direction better that it's supposed to be. Then press this up here. I'm going to go up, across, and down. I'm going to back stitch over the zipper teeth so I create a zipper stop better. And I'm going to try to get in the same holes I did previous. And I got it. Okay. We're going to close up this pocket. I'm so sorry, Christine. I hope you feel better. Oh, I forgot to get a magnet. I know I forgot something. Do I want to do rainbow? Sorry, guys. I always forget the magnet. Always. Never fails. And I'm trying to get rid of all the prong ones because I prefer the riveted ones. But we shall see. Where did I get it from? I got it from Fabric Wholesale Direct. My waterproof canvas. I just feel like you get your better bang for your buck. And it's not like a 18-inch by 56. You get like the whole yardage, which I utilize the whole yardage. All right, and I'm going to sew this at 3/8 of an inch versus the 1/2 inch. I'm gonna hold on to my thread so that way the tails don't get sucked in. I swear, I am notorious for not holding my threads. But it's okay. Yeah, this color is like the lavender. Oh, God. I love all their lavender, lilac, and rose colors. I'm going to go over this bottom one more time. I just don't like the way some of it turns. Good morning, Neil. Thank you. I'm getting a tool to help poke out the corners. Okay. Do not want to poke my own eye out. I'm just going to roll this area down so that way it can calm down. It's just been turned and it's a lot of vinyl. Okay, we're going to top stitch this. I'm still stitching out a 4.5. We're going to top stitch this at 1/8. Back stitch. This is nice. Okay, now find our center. Make a snip. And then we're going to start working on the other exterior pieces. Where's the female? Oh, I put it on here. Duh. Okay. I just had the mail. Where did you go? Sometimes this glue like pours out too much, and then other times it doesn't pour out enough. Take some electrical tape and cover it so that this doesn't rub against the lining. Okay. I'm going to be making the connectors. I'm using water resistant canvas because there's no stretch. And I like to use different textures on bags. And I'm just butting the long edges close together. And I'm going to sew this down at 3/8 of an inch down both long edges. I made this strap 1 inch, but normally I like to do 1.5 inch for this bag. I'm going to put a strip of double-sided tape down each connector's back. And again, I really like using water resistant canvas or waterproof canvas because there's no stretch and it can hold it. It's really good for bearing weight. Okay. I'm going to sew the bottom first. And again, I'm doing this at 3/8 of an inch. Back stitch well. Top stitch down at 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to put these down 1.5 inches. Thank you so much, Karen. I keep bumping my head on this overhead thing. I'm sorry, this is new to me. The overhead light. So yeah, I'm gonna bump it with my big head a couple times, probably until I realize it's there. So 1.5 inches. I'm just marking it with chalk so I could dust it off afterwards. Putting double-sided tape on the back of these. Measuring down 5/8 of an inch from the connector and just drawing a faint line so I can go across without hitting the hardware. And I just threw my chalk pin on the ground. And then I am going to start at the top and go across. Okay, I'm going to get some rivets. I'm going to get 4. I'm going to get my hole puncher. And go in between the 3/8 of the inch line and to reinforce it. The back of my vinyl is reinforced with bouncy firm, so it's extra stabilization for the rivets too. Okay, I'm going to set these rivets. Okay, and they're all done. Now we're going to connect them to this gusset. Refine the seams open. See. Find the center. I usually don't put a lot of clips on the straight edges. It's usually the curves that I'm more concerned with. Oh, thank you, Io. I'm so happy I'm sewing live. Like this whole week, I kind of had like a nasty little pressure headache from all the weather, but I love sewing, and to sew on my birthdays is a blessing. And I'm going to just use a stiletto around these curvy bits. If you want, you can snip to make them a little bit easier to go around the curves. Remember, crinkles and wrinkles above the line is okay, below is not. So just make sure you're at needle down and you're just making sure everything is as smooth as possible. I want to go around the bottom one more time for slightly below the line that you created, just for reinforcement. Using pinking shears just around the curve area so that way it sits pretty and not bulky. This is the back piece, so I'm also going to mark the top because we're going to be putting the flap on here. I'm sorry. I'm putting my label on here. I got these labels from Arc Expression. I really love them. They have like a rubbery feel to it, but I feel like they help poke out really nicely. Get this on. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing I did on the other side. From the other side, I'm gonna go 1/8 of an inch smaller than the previous line and just do reinforced stitching around the rounded part going across. Okay, thank you, Lynette. Thank you, Lori. I'm gonna clip this flap so we can baste it on. And I'm gonna baste it on at 1/4 of an inch. And while I'm there, I'm going to butterfly the side seams right there. And I'm going to start at a side seam. Okay, so this is going to be super cute. This is going to go over like this. We have our little sets, 3D, and just really pretty hardware. Let's start on this lining. I'm going to start with a slip pocket. Well, we're still putting the lining together and then the strap, so we got some time. Okay, 3/8 of an inch on each side. Just poke out this corner a little bit more. Okay. Going to top stitch this down at 1/4 of an inch. Going 2 inches above. I'm going to start going in by sewing horizontal a 1/2 inch, making a tack down stitch, so that way this can be used many times without stitches coming out. I like using bar tacks a lot. Thank you so much, Shannon. I'm going to go into the corner and I'm going to do a small punch, making sure I'm not hitting any of the threads that I just sewed down. Just a little bit of extra reinforcement, and just I think it looks cute. Okay, I'm going to set these rivets. Okay, so we're done with that part. Let's see. Okay. Again, these are not the facings that come with the pattern. This is just a 2 inch by 9.5 inch rectangle, and then I cut a 1/2 inch into it. Very, very, like if you follow Nico from Sonar, she usually does it. I like the way it looks. It's very clean, crisp, and I like having unusual and unique shapes. Try. I forgot to put, I keep forgetting to put little tags, so I'm just going to put it right here. So that way, being the lining. All right, let's cut this up. Okay. I'm I'm going to sew at 1/8 of an inch, back stitching. I know back stitching is super controversial over zipper things. Just I'm really rough on bag opening, so I'll back stitch. But remember, there's no rules. You can do whatever you want to do that makes you feel comfortable. Going across, down, up, down, and across, and I'm going to back stitch over the zipper teeth to create a secure zipper stop. I'm going to just finger press this to the 1-inch line that I drew. I didn't leave my iron on, so I can't iron it in place, but I could finger press it. And we're going to sew down the sides at 3/8 of an inch. Backstitch really well at the opening because that's where we're going to be pulling the lining out of to finish the bag off. Let's see. All right, we're going to find our centers. Instead of butterflying these, I'm going to be having it facing the lower part of the gusset when I top stitch. My thread decided to go all wonky. Loki is super quiet. It's freaking me out. Normally he's playing with his little soccer ball. I can hear the wonka 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 all throughout the house. But whenever it usually is rainy, he gets all like super sleepy and just wants to snuggle with someone and lay on the couch. Okay, so taking the seam allowance, folding it towards the middle panel, and then top stitching it. Now you could butterfly it open, but because this waterproof canvas is not that thick, it's not gonna really make, it's not going to have a lot of bulk in that area. My thread is acting all kind of crazy. Okay. Let's try it now. Seams to the bottom. Oh, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. All right. So I'm going to start with the zipper pocket one because this is where I'm going to have the opening. We're going to start off by sewing at 3/8 of an inch and then go to grade it down to a 1/2 inch and then go back up to 3/8, just so it can fit nicely in the bag. And then I'm just going to snip like little 1/4 inch because vinyl stretches way more than water resistant canvas, so I always have to snip them. Do the same thing over here. Okay, so I'm going to leave this opening from like here to here. So I'm going to go down one side and then do the other. So starting at 3/8 of an inch and going about an inch down and then just varying it off to a 1/2 inch. Remember, crinkles above the line, fine. Below, not so much. And then I'm going to back stitch to that line. I'm just going to pick up my thread and carry it over to the next area. I'm going to back stitch really well, and we're at a 1/2 inch. Oh, yeah, I ran out of bobbin. Well, I mean, Elisa ran out now versus top stitching. Not mad at that. Not at all. Thank you. I appreciate all the birthday wishes. You're so kind. So what are you looking forward to in the Olympics? Do you watch the Olympics? Or are you kind of like me that you sometimes don't watch it because your husband and your father and your brothers are such big sport fanatics that they can take the joy out of the Olympics? But if you do, what do you like to watch? I like to watch the football, and I like to watch, of course, gymnastics. I love watching floor routines and balance beam. And ice skating, figure skating to me is amazing. And occasionally I will watch basketball, but I have to watch it with none of my family because oh my God, my family talks about basketball like they own the teams. All right, so we're going to trim this down. And you're not going to trim where you left the opening. All right, so we have that opening, and now we're going to do the other side. Oh, yes. Happy birthday bag. Shenova, July 24th, 2024. Hey, 24/24. I didn't even notice that. That's cool. You watch it with your husband together? That's sweet. My husband is like that really over enthusiastic person when it comes down to sports. And like I'm more quiet, like silent victory, like, yeah. He's like, the whole house rattles, and you're just like, okay, I don't want to watch sports with you. You give me anxiety. And it's not his fault. Actually, it's very much my father and my brother's fault. Like, I'm born and raised in California. My family is a huge Lakers fan, like huge. They talk about the Lakers like they own them. So growing up, it was just like whenever they would talk about the Lakers, I would kind of like zone out. So, as an adult, when people watch basketball and they get really overexcited, it makes me a little antsy. You guys, I can't wait to show you the connectors, the hooks. They are so cool. I got this hardware from I purchased it from Fireweed Stitch. And she sometimes I just love going through her site like when I'm about to go to bed, because she always has very interesting hardware. And what I like about her is that she ships incredibly fast. So like I try to have patience, because like one of my favorite hardware companies is Bringberry, because the owner just creates like God, phenomenal hardware like that belongs on a runway. It's like couture. But because she's in Canada, and I always usually pay for the cheapest shipping, it takes a while for me to get. So I track that being like a mom tracks tracks for their baby, like a little baby bird. I'm just trimming around here just to release some of the bulk around it so it can fit inside the bag nice. Because I used half an inch, I'm trimming it down to about 1/4 of an inch. I used a half an inch increasing, but I started off with 3/8 of an inch. All right. So we're going to take this bag, open it up, and we're going to stuff it in this one. I want the zipper towards the back. And you want to push your hardware down. If it gets a little too finicky, just take your pocket flap on your zipper, your flap, and just kind of shimmy some of it into the birthing hole. That's what I usually do if it gets like too overstuffed. So I'm gonna butterfly these open the best I can. Ooh, you guys are seeing my hands are dry. I'm telling, whenever I work with water resistant canvas, like it sucks out all my moisture in my hands. Okay. All right, I'm gonna sew around this using 3/8 of an inch. I always like to back stitch over any of the side seams. I don't know why. There's no rhyme or reason. It's just something I do. I'm squishing the bag and letting the clips really hold everything together. And we're almost done. Okay. I'm going to trim the butterfly parts that are open so I can reduce bulk. Going in at an angle. Okay. We're going to birth it now. This one's going to be a little finicky because this has a lot of vinyl. I notice whenever I use printed vinyl, birthing's not fun. Just be careful. You want to go nice and slow because you don't want to like bust your stitches. I mean, if you do, you could fix it. It's not that big of a deal, but it's ideal that you don't. Just get squishy with it. You could make this a drop-in easily. Just with messenger bags, I prefer to have that birthing and then top stitching, just because most people use a tablet or a computer in there or your Nintendo Switch or whatever, and you just want to make sure that everything is nice and secure, and having that 2 rows of stitching just really does help. There we go. I'm just going around pulling nice and taut before I close up the lining, because I just want to make sure everything was caught and there's no like gaps or holes that I missed, because it happens. So I'm going to push this out of the way. I'm going to open up my zipper pocket. And I'm going to grab the lining. I find this easier to do before putting the lining inside the bag. It just, I don't know, it's already out. Why not? All right, so we're going to stitch this close at a 1/2 inch. Back stitch well. And I'm just making sure the center marks that I have match. Okay. Trim those threads. Stuff that back in there. Now I'm going to stuff the lining inside. I'm going to poke out my corners. And I really want to make sure the lining is sitting and you're not seeing it on the exterior side. So I'm going to roll the seams and then clip. Okay. So I'm going to do this top stitching in 2 parts. The first part, I'm going to do just the back panel, and then I'm going to do all the way around. You can sew it all the way around. I've done it numerous times, but I don't know. Should I do it again like that? We shall see. I'm going to top stitch this at 1/8 of an inch. And I always start on the back flap, and I do back stitch 2 to 3 stitches because it is the flap. I'm going to go all the way around. So when I go all the way around, make sure you're in needle down position. And I am just making sure that the lining is really rolled in. And if you have to stop, needle down, roll that vinyl, and roll that lining. Take your time. This is the top stitching. Make sure you're breathing. and then just back stitch 2 to 3 stitches, and then 1 stitch forward just to lock it in. Okay, I'm going to trim these threads, and then I'm going to sew up the lining. Then it's time to make the bag all pretty and crisp, because it looks like it's all smushed right now, but we will fix that. Okay. Let's top stitch the lining down, pocket down by 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to get the threads out of there. Put in the pocket. And then I'm going to grab my plier that has plastic on it, and I'm going to I know you're like, what are you doing, Genova? This is just how I like to, I guess, press my bag, if you want to say, especially areas that have bulky seams and around. Not too hard, just enough so that it can look crisp. See, it kind of just relaxes the seam a little bit. I'm gonna put this on here and kind of do that on the side. Take your time. You just made a beautiful bag, so you just want it to all come together really nicely. All right, so we have this part done. Let's make the crossbody part, and we will be almost done. So this is the hardware. When I seen this, I lost my ever-loving mind. Look at this. They clip to these, and these hang. How cool are these? I'm not going to use this because this is really thin. I'm going to use one that from Tandy Leather that's a better wide mouth, but aren't those pretty? I was just like, oh my god. All right, because this is a cross body bag, vinyl, it stretches. See? Oops, stretches. So I'm going to get some electrical tape. You use cross grain ribbon if you have it. Something to stabilize it. Get a strip of Decaville Light, whatever. And I'm just going to put this so that way it does not stretch. I started realizing how much vinyl stretches and cork when I made the Beast from Ora Rosa. Oh my word. I took it to the first So Magical I went to, and I overstuffed it, but I could feel it stretching at the airport, and it was driving me nuts. It didn't bust any stitches, but since then, like 3 or 4 years ago, I now always stabilize my back straps. Thank you so much. Thank you guys. As you can see, my double-sided tape is well loved. I'm not going to be ashamed that it has a bazillion strings all over it anymore. Okay, Brittany, I have one of my things straight just has Loki's hair. I have a 1 inch gap. Oh, not a 1 inch gap, a 1/8 of an inch gap. I'm really in love with this hardware. Is it just me? Because I've never seen anything like that before, but that is the coolest. I was like, oh, Sookie, this is cute. And I waited because I was like, what do I want to use it with? And I know that gray and this copper are like polar opposite, but I kind of like the way it looks together. I just wanted the Studio Ghibli to have like an antique feel, like a forever feel. Yep. Cat hair. Mine's is Loki hair and definitely tons of string. Like when I see pristine double-sided tape, I'm secretly low-key jealous of that person. I'm not going to lie. All right. So we're going to top stitch this down at 1/8 of an inch on both sides. And you can clip it. You don't have to use double-sided tape. Hair clips work amazing when you're making straps. And I'm just stopping my needle and folding it over. Let's let her fly. Okay. Let's trim these threads. Trim the ends to make sure they're even up. And then kind of get toasty and let the plastic fold over so that they look like they're finished ends, but they're not. Try not to inhale the smoke. Okay. Slide the wide mouth strap in. I'm going to get 2 males, 2 females. And see how like this is the rivet post is kind of flat. If your post is too long, the rivet won't connect right and it can kind of go on a slant, which makes the rivet faulty. And You don't want that. All right. So I've never used these straps before, so I'm kind of really excited. These connectors. Want to make sure everything is straight. Then I'm going to be using where I will freak out if I lost that. Okay. Leslie's Jolie Lee's creation strap thing, because I could eyeball the one that goes for the wide mouth, but I hate eyeballing the one for like the final connector to be attached to. Okay, and I'm gonna set that. Oh my, okay, I can't be the only one that thinks these are insanely cool. Oh, thank you. These are just so cool. So we are all done, my friends. We did it before 2 hours. We have a really dope Studio Ghibli bag. We put some cute buttons on here so there could be accent. We have a nice zipper pulls. You have a zipper pocket and a slip pocket, and it's just too cute. So I appreciate you guys spending my birthday sewing with me. I had a lot of fun. I hope everybody has a really good day today. And if you have a chance to sew, go for it. If you don't, you can live vicariously through me. I will talk to you guys all tomorrow on Captain's Log, and I hope everyone has a fantastic day. Bye.